And we're live. Hi everyone, it's Ash here from FPL Hints, back with another edition and the final edition of FPL Hints Live. As always, we'll look at the game week that's literally just finished and we'll preview the game week ahead. So, look, without further ado, let's get straight into it, shall we? So, my starting rank for the game week was 180k, and from my side, I know it's too late, but I was just hoping to still finish in the top 100k this season. I've probably left it too late, and it basically meant that I had to go against the EO captain, and it's something that I've been very like staunch on. I've gone for the EO captain, and my captaincy has been really great this season. But just for variation, and just so that I can get traction um, in other parts of my team, I took the risk on captaincy last week with Wilson and it paid off. And this week it worked wonders with Bruno. Just going to get rid of this pop up ad. So, yeah, starting off with my defense first of all. So, I've had Jason Steele in my team since my wild card, and for all those double game weeks that Brighton have had at the end of the season. And, for what you're getting in that price bracket, he's as good as gold. So no complaints there. And then coming on to my back line, I was very surprised to see that Trippier's EO had just fallen off like the cliff. Like at the start of the season, like especially in the early part of the season up to the midpoint of the season, he had an EO of like 90% plus across multiple rank tiers. And I'm assuming because he didn't have a double in 37, a lot of people sold him for a a double game week defender, most likely a Shaw. And yeah, his EO was less than 50% in my rank tier, 9 points. I'll take that gladly. And yeah, Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's had this fantastic run of form of late, and yeah, didn't pay off against Aston Villa. Very disappointing that Liverpool's what remained of Liverpool's Champions League charge ended on a damp squib. But 1 point, but he's done the business for me, and I had him when his EO was less than 50%. So no complaints there. And yeah, coming on to Wan-Bissaka, I know it's saying 12 points. I just need to refresh my screen, I beg your pardon, because I hadn't refreshed it. Sorry, let me just rejig it again. Oh, the ranks dropped slightly. It's like, um, oh, have the bonus points gone for Fernandez as well? That's a shame. Let me just check that because I thought he had secured 2 bonus points. I'll be very disappointed if he's just gone from like 2 to 0. Let's have a just quick look there. I'm just looking at this in real time, and uh, ah, that's so random. Lewis Hall has stolen bonus points of Bruno Fernandez. Oh dear, oh dear. Ah, gutted, absolutely gutted. Yeah, it's been a small rank for us. What 140k, 152k. One of my highest overall ranks of the season, so no complaints there. Yeah, Wan-Bissaka, 8 points, same as Botman on my bench. Won't complain at 4.3 million. Then Rashford, a lot of like questions on will he, won't he feature in game week 38, and he did in the end. And all those that are worried about the lost Trippier points, well, in the end, as the first auto sub for many, he's delivered. And yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he also played more than an hour, so he's got the 2 appearance points as well. And then yeah, Mitoma and McAllister just disappointing. I was just expecting so much more from Brighton. Of course, they got both of them got the assist in the first double game week game, but with Mitoma, just seems as if he's had so many missed chances, so many opportunities of late that he should have scored far many points than he actually did. And yeah, I'm just surprised. His EO is ridiculously high as well. But yeah, just gutted. I was expecting more from them, especially in that Man City match where you would have thought that City have got their guard down. But fair play to them. Then Mohamed Salah chipped in with an assist there. And then Bruno Fernandes, look, he got the goal right at the end. Well, not right at the end, but eventually, despite all those misses in the match. And by comparison to I could have gone for Haaland. I, I say Haaland. I've been saying Haaland throughout the season and no one's corrected me. So I could have gone for Haaland, decided to go for Fernandes, and it paid off. Could have got more, but no complaints. And then, yeah, Wilson, again, against Leicester, could have got at least one or two fancy returns as well. And in the end, the team has scored 10 points above the safety score and still 20 points annoyingly off 100k. I think at one point during this game week, I was 25 points off. So I would need to be extremely lucky, get a big roll of the dice to even get close to it. I was kind of hoping that if I was like 10 or 15 points off 100k, even with one game week to go, I still would have had a chance. But it's going to be a massive ask for me to hope for the best and get inside the top 100k. I revised it so that I'd be aiming for a top 1% finish. I think that's what 114k, but it could have been so much more better this game week. But I'm not going to complain. My game week rank, a few weeks back, my overall rank, I beg your pardon, I think I was like 250k. The rank was just going like stale and wasn't getting enough traction. Yeah, 256k. I'm going to share this on screen actually. So game week 32, in fact, 279k. That's when I foolishly got rid of Saka before his random haul against Southampton, and he didn't do much right after that. So luckily that move paid off in the long term. But look at that, 279k, 256k, 221k, 243k. It was just nothing was happening. Then got some traction in double game week 36. Was it double game week 36? Can't even remember now. But yeah, 36. Oh no, it was. I beg your pardon, Wilson. It was. And then 37 hasn't updated yet, but a further increase of 30k. And yeah, that movement from 243k to 250k, I've made up what 90k in 3 weeks, and I'm looking at my real-time live FPL score right now, 152k. Let's factor in the auto subs. Yeah, I'm not going to finish in the top 100k. Just left it too late. The reality is I've just benched far too many points on the bench. I think it's been more than 300 points. Yeah, Zuma wasn't going to start him. Solanke wasn't going to start him. Same with Raya. And Botman, of course, I wasn't going to start him either. So did the best with what I could with my team. And yeah, if Fernandes, like we can see in the chat, there had he got that assist, but obviously because of the deflection, the assist wouldn't have counted for him. He would have got an additional 6 points as a captain, probably got maximum bonus points, an additional 12 points. I really could have done with those points, but it is what it is. Ah, dear, oh dear. But looking to game week 38 now, I'll share my bus team. So let me just get this on screen. So my bus team for game week 38, I don't think it looks that great, to be honest with you. But here we go. Got a steal against Aston Villa. Brighton obviously have qualified for the Europa League. You could say they've got nothing to play for now. And yeah, not expecting him to keep a clean sheet, but let's see what happens. And then the back line, Trippier against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Again, Newcastle now technically have nothing to play for. Liverpool against a Southampton team that already relegated, and of course Liverpool can't mathematically qualify for the Champions League, so nothing to play for there. Wan-Bissaka against Fulham, again, another player, another team, nothing to play for there as well. So my back line consists of players who have nothing to play for. Will they start? You know, maybe Wan-Bissaka might get a rest a week before the FA Cup final. I'd expect Trent Alexander-Arnold to start against Southampton. Trippier perhaps might get a rest against Chelsea. Who knows? Not really expecting much from that back line. And I can't really see myself making a defense-related transfer either. So I've got to make do with them or my subs. And then coming on to the midfield, Rashford, he's got that hour clocked up against Chelsea. Uh, Probably would have not expected to get as many minutes, having just recently come back from injury. I've got no doubt his minutes will be managed again against Fulham. Will he get a start? Perhaps, but manage minutes. He's not captaincy material for me, despite scoring against Chelsea in double game week 37. And then I've got McAllister, who obviously has been a bit of a frustrating own for me right now because he hasn't done anything for me apart from that one assist. But I've got to play him, just got to go through the motions. And I'm hoping that because he got the benching against Man City, um, that he'll hopefully get some minutes um, against Aston Villa. And yeah, then you've got Mohamed Salah. Currently, he is my bus captain. I kind of feel that with Mohamed Salah, despite it being a somewhat mixed season for him, I think that he's actually done not too bad actually. If I just get his stats on the screen here, like in terms of FPL points, 234 points. He's got 31 goal involvements in 36 games. That's still quite healthy. And in terms of where that sits with points, obviously not comparable to last year, not that 303 point season. It's comparable to how he done in 2020, 2021 and 2019, 2020. And if I just go further back, obviously ignore that Chelsea season. So it's been a reasonable enough. I've said mixed. Obviously, not been a great season for Liverpool, but from an individual performance basis, his goal involvements have been on par. And just looking at his goals as well, he hasn't scored in the last two games, but he has got 4 assists in the last two games. I'm just looking at when was it that he last didn't get any goal involvements. There it is. Game week 33 against West Ham. And then after that, 29 against Chelsea, 27 against Bournemouth. So to be fair to him, he's been fairly productive. And of course, there was that 4 goal involvements against United at Anfield in game week 26 when I didn't own him and he destroyed my rank. But yeah, for me, that he is a serious captaincy option, and I will come on to my captaincy polling data in a moment. And you got Fernandez. I kind of feel that, with all things considered, like had it not been a double game week, I wouldn't have even considered captaining him. But because there was a question on Rashford, Fernandez being on penalties, double game week, I just took a chance on him and it worked. But yeah, kind of stuck with him as well for this final game week. And then coming on to my strikers, Solanke against Everton. I'd expect with Everton needing to go for a win, their defence will surely be open up to some degree. Everton might end up winning that match, but I'd expect them to concede. And if they're going to concede, you'd expect Solanke to get some sort of goal involvement in that match. You got Wilson against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Once again, is he going to start? Is he going to get any minutes? Well, significant amount of minutes. I'd say that he should get some sort of involvement. And he's been on a fantastic run of form with all the goals that he scored as well, even when he's not starting. So I'll just bring it up on screen here. Of course, he blanked against Leicester. But look at that. Brace, blank, brace, brace of goal involvements. Then the brace again in game week 33. Goal in 32. When did he blank back to back? There you go. 30, 31. Well, to be fair, he got the assist in 30. Just want to go further back. There we go. So it was game week 28 when he last blanked back to back. So yeah, I'm going to start him for definite. May not start for Newcastle, but I'm hoping he'd sign off and end his season on a high. Coming on to my bench, yeah, Raya against Man City. No chance I'm going to start him, even though that's Brentford are playing at home. Zuma against Leicester. Can't see a clean sheet in that match. Happy for him to be a dud sub 3. Also, you've got the Europa Conference League. Is it Europa Conference League final for West Ham? So no doubt he could be a rotation risk. Botman against Chelsea. Even Chelsea would want to finish off on a high as well. So can't see a clean sheet for either team in that match. So he's my sub 2. Currently, Mitoma is my sub 1, which I might change because his EO is still relatively quite high, and he has looked quite productive in the matches as well that I've watched him in. Very unlucky with that strange handball against Man City during the midweek match. I'll have a think. If there's any early team news that says Mitoma is benched, I'd definitely sell him for like an Eze or someone. But I was just surprised that he's not had a rest in a very long time. Look at that full game against City, almost against Southampton, Newcastle, Arsenal, and it's just annoying from an ex-Min's perspective. He's been absolutely on point. Look at that, Everton, United. It was that Wolves game, the last time when he didn't start. So there's a part of me that's thinking maybe he's due a benching. Brighton have nothing else to play for now after securing Europa League football. So perhaps his time is due. But just showing this as my bus team at the moment. And I guess it brings me on to my next segment, which is my captaincy polling data for I was going to call it double game week 38, but the whole season feels like a double game week in some respects. So I'll just bring my poll up right now, and I've done this captaincy poll for literally every week, I think, except for a couple of occasions throughout this season, and this question has evolved since August till now. So I used to ask, who is the best captain for a given game week? I then changed it because I felt that perhaps people would consider it to be too direct, and then I made it a bit more like generic and said, who do you think the most engaged managers will captain in that given game week? So it wasn't as personal, wasn't as direct. But as you can see, I changed the question once again. Again, it's all captaincy polling questions, but the question which I changed, I think, last week was, which FPL player will score the most points in game week 38? Because ultimately, that's what I'm asking. That when it comes to captaincy, it'll be a premium player that we're all more or less going to go for, unless it's a double game week or you're willing to take risks. But I've got my premium choices there. And with over 1,000 votes, Salah is the standout captain. Almost half of those that have voted are favouring him as the person to score the most points, followed by Harry Kane in what might be his farewell match for Tottenham against Leeds at Ellen Road. And then you've got Haaland against Brentford with 17% of the vote, which surprised me to some degree. I thought it'd be a lot higher. I think he's going to start that match. And then you've got Bruno Fernandes, who I just picked as a fourth choice. Probably should have just put that as other, with less than 10% of the vote. So I'm projecting that Mohamed Salah will have an EO that exceeds well over 100%, probably 120, 130%. I think Haaland's EO will also exceed 100% across multiple ranked tiers as well. And it's not like massively uncommon to have two players that have an EO that exceeds 100%. It's happened a few times this season, but I think in game week 38, because of the way the captaincy will be so split, it's gonna happen basically. So Mohamed Salah will be the favoured captain across the top ranked tiers, followed by Haaland and then Kane. But I also kind of feel that the leaked information that comes out in game week 38, it seems to be like far more leaky than it is during different game weeks. And I feel that if Haaland is likely to start, or it's confirmed that he is starting, then I believe that a lot of FPL managers who want to play it safe and who want to preserve rank will probably shift the captaincy from like a Salah to a Haaland instead. I do suspect that. And Just having a look at the chat there. An attacking Everton midfielder. Yeah, I'll come on. I'll come on to the Everton choices as well. But yeah, there you have it. Over 1,000 people have voted in this poll, and it's clear that Mohamed Salah will probably be the standout captaincy choice. But it's, I kind of like would want it that my captain has something to play for. In the case of Callum Wilson 2 weeks ago, Newcastle was still chasing and securing a Champions League spot, which they've now done. Same with United in double game week 37. It's like literally none of these captaincy choices, the premium, safe, most popular captaincy choices, have almost anything to play for. I mean, Haaland, you could say that there's still that goal scoring, goal involvement record to match up with Alan Shearer. I think he's 3 goal involvements short, so he could match Alan Shearer. Kane would want to sign off on a high. I think he's got that record for most goals scored in games. I think like 26. He scored individual games, which that's an ongoing record now. And then yeah, Mohamed Salah will just be for like just his own pride, I guess. So yeah, my projections for captaincy, as I've said, it will be split captaincy across the board. But if we know that a Haaland, a Kane, or Salah, not that they'll be benched, but like if one of those, like if Haaland is benched, then you get far more captaining Salah and Kane. In fact, some might then go switch Haaland to Kane, and then Kane's EO would probably exceed 100%, as would Mohamed Salah's. So it'll be an interesting watch, but I can't see Haaland getting benched. Managed minutes probably, but yeah, he'll start that match. And yeah, there you have it. So for captaincy, it's really up for grabs, and it really depends what you want to do. Um, really, like if you're playing it safe, you're going to go for the most safest option, and if you're chasing, you'll take that risk. And I'm just going to bring on my captaincy stats as well for this season. Just give me one moment, please. Just bringing this up now. I just want to share this. I can get it. This is from Premier Fantasy Tools. My captaincy picks. Just get this up, and I'll share my screen. Rid of that. It's come up. Nope, it hasn't come up. My apologies. So yeah, it's been a rough season for me in terms of like overall rank. I've had 2 back-to-back 5K finishes in the previous 2 seasons, and I knew it would be virtually impossible to match that. But I've been very unfortunate with so many 50-50s just going wrong for me. But when it's come to captaincy, I've actually been very fortunate in the fact that my general captain EO approach has worked. And sorry, I'm just going to zoom this. There we go, got it, perfect. Just get rid of that. So as you can see there, captaincy with the penultimate game week now concluded, 698 points, which very happy with that. 81% success rate. Wilson captaincy was the best pick, and then my worst was Haaland. But then in terms of the blanks, as we can see there, between game week 1 and game week 23, just had 4 blanks. That was, I think, Salah against Bournemouth in that freak 9-0 result when he got no goal involvements, and then Haaland, Salah and Haaland in those middle game weeks. But then really turn of since the World Cup restart, it's been brilliant for me. Just those 3 blanks, as we can see, and yeah, Haaland in 24, Saka in 26, and then Haaland against Leeds in 35. But it's been a fantastic run, and there are some rankings there. I'm just going to get this up as well. Just give me one moment. So the Premier Fantasy Tools site, they allow you to check the rankings as well for captaincy. So top captaincy picker, let's come on to that. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Let's have a look. Top FPL captain pickers, that's what I wanted. So 698 points. If I just get this up here, let's make sure I've got the right screen. Sorry for all these. Let's get rid of that. 698 points puts me. So I think he's got like 13,000 people that are ranked in this, and I am currently ranked. There we go, top 50, 48th. So look at that. I've pretty much been safe with captaincy throughout the season. Just took these risks at the end, and they paid off. And up there in the top 50. So, with all things considered, I'm fairly content with how captaincy has worked for me. I think it's probably had my best ever captaincy season. So very content with that. And the ultimate flaw from my side, I'll bring it back up now to my FPL team, was that captaincy worked, but sadly it was it was just a case of making too many wrong 50-50 calls. And I'll just do a quick review of the season because I won't be doing one on Sunday. So go to the start. Fantastic start. 109k by game week 5. I've basically been in the top 100k early on for last, I think 6 of the last 7 seasons. So I just thought, I'm going to build momentum here. Just going to crack on and like fly up the rankings. But but it just wasn't meant to be. I've not, think for the first time ever, even been inside the top 100k for the season. I've always been in the top 100k at some point, but sadly not this season. So at this point here, game week 5 to 7, I thought I'd stabilize my rank, and I thought, well, that's great, 100-ish k. So I can then progressively get into the top 100k. Queen dies. I sell Saliba ahead of Brentford for Emerson, and that kills my rank. And that was the first big 50-50 call that I got completely wrong. And then from being 100k, knocking on that door, really horrible tailspin from game week 8 until the World Cup, my rank progressively got worse. Just look at those red arrows. They just keep on coming. 300. I was basically stuck on like 300k. Then more bad calls. Wildcard didn't work. 450k, 422k. And then I think the last game week before the World Cup dropped to 600k. So at this point, I thought, that's the perfect time for the World Cup to come in, because my rank has completely annihilated. And it meant that, from a position of safety where I could have been a few weeks before the World Cup, I was now in a position that I wanted to play it safe, but I really had to chase. So straight away, 600k to 389k after the restart. I thought, that's great. I've got some momentum back. But then I was basically, before you knew it, I was back at 600k, and this was game week 19, halfway into the season. Like previous seasons, by now I'm already in the top 20k, top 10k. I'm just flying and playing it safe. But the key thing here was I had to take risks, and I think the first risk I took was triple captaining Haaland. First double, I think, was against United in Tottenham. And of all the doubles he had, that was the worst time to do it because he got the least points. But I took the risk and it didn't work. Actually, the 37 was probably the worst one, but I think by then everyone had used their chips. So 600k, look at that, 500k. Small progress is now being made. By game week 25, I was just fed up. I was like, you know what? I'm stuck at 600k. I've got to really roll the dice here. And when many were happy to take a -8 during this blank game week, I just took a free hit. I thought I need some momentum. Got to 400k, which was my best rank, I think, for quite some time. And then at this point, it was right. I need a plan. I'm going to use a free hit. I'm going to wild card, and then from that point onwards bench boost, and it almost didn't work because of game week 26 when Mohamed Salah and Liverpool just annihilated Man United. My rank fell back. I thought, well, that's the wild card wasted. But then thankfully, the patience paid off. Activated my bench boost in 27, and look at that rank push. So from like what 600k, not that long before, I was in the top 200k by double game week 27. I thought fantastic. Now I can push on to the top 100k. Then got another green arrow, 159k. But then got some. I'd call these grey arrows in 29, 30. Got some momentum back. But was that Saka selling Saka, such a high EO player? I thought, you know what, I'm going to take that risk. The risk didn't pay off. Set me back again, and that really. I think by this point I knew it was going to be very difficult to break into the top 100k this season. I thought, despite the doubles that were coming, I knew that I'd played it far too safe, and yeah, didn't do myself any favors there. Got a couple of green arrows, and the problem was I was just getting too many red arrows. There weren't that many back-to-back green arrows really for me this season. Got it in 34, but look at that 28. All the way back to game week 5. So that was a struggle getting back-to-back green arrows. And I struggled for momentum throughout the season. And then, coming on to 34, 35, got the push with Wilson. By game week 36, double game week 36, I knew that I couldn't play safe with captaincy or else I'd finish outside top 200k. Had to take a risk on Wilson. Of course, lots went with Isak. Paid off 50k rank rise, and then this game week I've gone annoyingly only 30k. Was kind of hoping for more, but it's put me in a position where I'm probably not going to finish in the top 100k unless I take another massive risk, or I can play moderately risky and aim for the top 1%, and that's probably what I'll be doing. I'll see. I'll have a think. The risks that I've paid off in 36 and 37, part of me is thinking that I wish I did that earlier in the season, but I didn't need to because captaincy was working. It was Captain Haaland, Captain EO. But by 36 and 37, I was able to do that. I mean, one of the biggest lessons I've got here is that if I know there is a split captaincy, or if I know that there is like the most informed EO captain is going to have managed minutes, or he's at he hasn't got a double like a Haaland, I'm going to take more risks on captaincy because they paid off here. But it's not as if I've taken the wrong risks on captaincy early on in the season. It was just a case of there wasn't opportunity. There weren't any real opportunities to take a risk on captaincy because it was so obvious. But these final game weeks, I literally had nothing else to lose because my team is more or less template for the most part, and where I normally wouldn't go for variation on captaincy, I simply had to, and it has paid off. But I've made it very clear as well that when it does come to captaincy, that I have no problems taking risks when I need to. It's really a case of just timing it at the right time. So it is what it is. And I'm just waiting for the season to end, in all honesty. It's been a tough slog. And I believe that we've not had an uninterrupted season since the 18-19 season. Of course, 19-20 we had COVID. 2021 had another COVID situation, it was ongoing. Was it? I've forgotten now. 21-22 more disruptions. 22-23 got the World Cup. Queen dying, so lost a game week. But I really hope we just have an uninterrupted season for 23-24. I really hope that they don't muck about with the prices as well. again. I hope that the prices are more reasonable because I've had a lot of bench points, as you can see this season, and I feel that that's really happened because when it's come to um, like choices, we've just been sport for choice. Casual managers have also been able to get in the best players. There's no panic for them when it comes to getting priced out. But I think the pricing was a bit wrong this season. It wrong-footed me. Um, but yeah, I don't want to blame my season on variance and luck, but I would like to blame it as well because like literally, um, despite being very template, when I did sell a template player that was highly owned, it wrecked my rank. And I've said that time and time again that like that's what the that can ultimately happen, but it just didn't work for me. I think Trippier, I think I sold him before a haul. There was, I think, the first wild card. There's so many players who I almost got in who just had a fantastic run of form. Like Almiron had just started his form, and then he just kicked on for like the remaining, was it 4 or 5 game weeks? Who else was there? Solanke, Mitrovic, so many of these players who I could have got didn't get them, and it's just led me to have this like tough slog till the end. Um, I'm glad like the risks on captaincy recently have paid off, but again, I wouldn't start the season taking a risky captain. But let's just come on to some questions and I'll wrap it up for this final time this season. So, questioner asks, on a free hit draft, what are your thoughts on Johnson, Trent, Tarkovsky, Tierney, Salah, Eze, Gakpo, Odegaard, Madison, Kane, Haaland? What are my thoughts? So, yeah, Kane and Haaland definitely have them. I mean, if there's a question on Haaland not starting, then you can obviously get like a Nunez or someone else in. If he's going to even start, I don't know. But like, yeah, Haaland just need to work out who um, your alternative is there. Yeah, Leicester have all to play for. Madison makes sense. As a England cap, hopefully around the corner, makes sense to get him with this fantastic run of form. Got Salah captain, like we've said earlier on, no questions about that. I wouldn't really have Tarkovsky as a defender against Bournemouth because I feel that Everton are going for the win. They're not holding out for a 1-0 and they're not holding out for a draw. So I wouldn't have Tarkovsky as one of my defenders. Is that Johnson against Forest? Probably. Is it John Stone? Johnston, sorry. Um, so yeah, I see that that would make sense. Other players you could consider perhaps a Son. You'd want to end on a high. To go really differential, you could even consider like a Trossard. I'm not sure if he's starting, but someone like him would want to, make a lasting impression as well. If Haaland was benched, I'd switch him out in this free hit for like a Jesus perhaps. But you've got no United players there. I think that the United and City players, especially the City players, there'll be significant rotation there. Obviously, in the case of City, they've got the FA Cup final and the Champions League final, so they'd want to be super cautious. Same with United; they wouldn't want any injured players a week before facing off against City at Wembley. But you're on the right like path there with that free hit draft. Just trying to think who else would I potentially get in. Just trying to look at the table really quickly, just remind myself who's got something to play for. Because most of the teams don't. It's literally, I mean, like first, second, third, fourth, that's all locked in. Fifth and sixth is locked in. I think Tottenham actually, um, if they win and Aston Villa like draw or lose, they could still qualify for the Conference League. But then obviously they're playing Leeds, and Leeds have everything to play for. And I don't think Tottenham, if they beat Leeds, so be it. But like the Conference League is hardly a big carrot for them, and whoever the next manager will be. But like, if Rodrigo wasn't flagged, I would strongly consider him as an option in that Leeds team. Leicester, Maddison, Everton. Which attacking player can I get there? I mean, some will say McNeil, but there's literally no one from Everton that I'd want to buy. But yeah, it's a tough one. It's a real tough one. Just coming on to the goal difference, actually, really quickly for uh, Aston Villa and Spurs, it's actually quite close. So if Brighton hold Villa and Tottenham win against Leeds, then they've got a European spot. And you look at the teams that play in the latter stages of the Europa Conference League. You know, this like got like some respectable teams there, and I guess some European football is better than none. So that would make sense as well. But there you have it. In terms of my own transfers, I'm just gonna just switch this out quickly. Yeah, I mean, who do I sell? Really, I'm stumped here. For me, I'd have to just wait for a leak and then base it on that. But like my plan would be to have like a placeholder transfer in place for every player. So for example, Haaland doesn't start, Harry Kane. Mitoma doesn't start, Eze. Rashford doesn't start, an Arsenal midfielder. I'd base it on that. Defenders, I'm kind of stuck with this lot now, so I can't really touch them. But most likely, in my case, am I going to take a -4 on the final day? I'd prefer not to because I feel that I would literally need both of those players to get fancy returns and hope that the players that I sell don't get any fancy returns. So first of all, if I know that the players I'm selling are not gonna even be in the squad, then okay, fair enough. That's given me some impetus, but it's just really hard doing a -4 on the final day. I kind of feel that you're kind of asking for a red arrow on the final day with a -4 because so many people will be on different strategies and like there isn't really a template team per se. Captaincy split, anything could happen, and if your -4 doesn't pay off, it's a red arrow. So yeah, I don't fancy that at all. If I know that Rodrigo is starting for Leeds, is fully fit, I'd really be tempted to get him in. I This template doesn't allow me to. This team structure doesn't allow me to get in Maddison and yeah, Eze. I'd really if I knew that all my players are starting apart from Matoma or McAllister, just get Eze in. It fits in really. Um, just looking at some of these questions. Uh, if Haaland is out, Firmino starts, he's worth a shout. I'd say yeah, definitely. Firmino's farewell game for Liverpool. I would consider him as well. I also look at those forward options for Liverpool. Like obviously they've got nothing to play for. They've got Nunez, got Jota, got Gakpo who can play um, up front as well. But yeah, Firmino, farewell game. You'd expect him to start. So I would be tempted with that move. But if you gave me a choice between Firmino and Kane, I would want Kane because of Kane's um, like goal scoring prowess. But I'm gonna just test this one move out, just a hypothetical one. So let's just say, actually no, I can't. I was gonna say Solanke for a Firmino, and then yeah, I can't make that move. Yeah, team. If your team structure allows you to have a Haaland, a Kane, and a Firmino on a free hit, which I believe you are the person who's asking that free hit, then it would make sense. But yeah, Haaland to Kane for me is the go-to transfer as well. And I wouldn't just go from Haaland to Kane. I'd say, you know what? Oh, Haaland's benched. I've got Kane. I'll captain Kane. I literally would because it's his farewell game with Mohamed Salah. It's not his for well, to the best of my knowledge, it's not his farewell game for. Um, I mean, the other thing is that like Spurs will be up against it against Leeds, because Leeds will want to score. But then that's a good thing because they won't sit back, and then that will create pockets of space for Kane to score. Conversely, Southampton, I don't want to say they're on the beach, but they literally are on the beach now. Has Mohamed Salah got the motivation to like just bang in a hat trick against him? He probably has. I mean, you could say Kane hasn't scored a hat trick for Spurs now for what, 6 years? So he's got the motivation to sign off on a high as well. I honestly think captaincy, like for those that want momentum, it'll be between Kane and Salah really. It literally will be, and it just depends on like Haaland being benched, and if Haaland is benched, then that will further inflate their effective ownership in game week 38. Let's have a look. What are my thoughts on an attacking Everton midfielder? Yeah, like I've said, I can't justify any Everton players in my team right now at all. I really can't. Not even a defender like the free hit question was asking. And I'm just looking at my team structure. I'm basing it on what I would do. Like Haaland to Kane is an option. Stuck with Solanke, stuck with Wilson. And yeah, like Fernandez, he's I can see him starting. Rashford perhaps as well. Oh dear, oh dear. I just feel that we're going to get so much rotation, and ultimately that's going to like force many people into a -4, which I'm dreading as well. That I don't want to make a -4, but I'll probably have to, because some of my players won't start, and my bench, like I'm not going to go double Newcastle defense against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Absolutely not. I'd preferably not start Mitoma and McAllister. So I'd like it that one of them is benched, so I can get rid of them, one of them. And yeah, I just think, you know what, I've got to go for a like risky captain and a risky transfer. I simply have to. There's nothing for me to lose now, and I think like when it comes to this sort of rank tier between 100 and 200k, like it's practically the same. So why? Like if I play conservatively for this final game week, my rank is barely going to budge, and I want it to budge. I want to like finish at least. I think like where I'm right now, 150k. I think top 200k is secure. So it's now a case of, do I want to push on and break into the top 100k? And I'd have to, if I want to, I'd have to take risks. I'm just so annoyed because of that Saka sale, like what, more than a few weeks ago, that really wrecked it for me. And preferably, I would thought, you know what, play template, play it safe, and then the final game week. I think last year my transfer was like I sold like a budget defender for like Joel Matip, got me 6 points, and that was enough to get me a top 5k rank again. Um, I can't think. I think probably once have I took a hit in the final game week and it's paid off. It generally doesn't pay off for me, so I would prefer not to take a hit. But if squad rotation across the board meant I had to, then I will, and I'll then think, you know what, I'll roll the dice again and just go for a risky transfers in that instance. Now, before I sign off, we've got game week 39, which is just around the corner. So, as per the name, it will start um, once the Premier League season ends, and it takes place at Castlevale Stadium on Saturday, the 3rd of June. And we've got a women's match, we've got a men's match. It's a second edition of the men's match. All proceeds go to Street Child United, and you're welcome to make a non-ticket donation if you're not able to attend. And if you'd like to attend, tickets cost £5. As mentioned, all proceeds go to charity. If you want to learn more, check out the Twitter handle at GW39FPL, or go to our website gw39northeastsouth.co.uk. And as I've mentioned earlier on, there'll be no more streams from from me between now and the end of the season. My plan is to focus on game week 39 after Sunday for the remaining um, days after the season ends. After that point, I'll take a 2-week break. And once the fixtures get released, I'll probably do my first draft straight away and show you what I've made. But yeah, it's been a rough season, and just looking for looking forward for it to end, having a nice break, enjoying game week 39, and I wish you all the best as well. So take care and all the best for game week 38, and may your arrows be green, may your mind be serene. Take care and all the best, everyone. Thank you and goodbye, whether you're watching live or on playback. Thank you very much.